Good evening, Nashville. SportsLine on the air here on News Channel 5 Plus. Yours truly, Jon Burton, with you for the next hour. Your phone calls always welcome. 615-737-7767. We have reached the dead pool, the dead period here in sports. Major League Baseball All-Star game was last night. The American League winning 2-1 in 10 innings. Of course, it doesn't mean anything anymore. The winning league does not get home field advantage in the World Series anymore, so it's just a feather in the cap of the American League. They've now won 17 of the last 21 All-Star games. Seattle's Robinson Cano getting the go-ahead home run in the top of the 10th inning. So now for the next couple of days, not a lot going on. You may have caught the opening of the ESPYs, the annual ESPN Sports Awards show. Peyton Manning, former Tennessee star, is hosting that extravaganza tonight as I host the Wednesday extravaganza here on SportsLine. Had some pretty good jokes. His opening monologue was pretty good. I'm sure you can catch it somewhere on YouTube or later tonight on SportsCenter. I want to let everybody know about a great ESPN 30 for 30 documentary that airs tomorrow night. I believe it's 7 o'clock. It's called Mike and the Mad Dog. And if you're a sports fan and you're a fan of sports talk on TV and radio, you definitely want to tune in because it tells the story of a couple of guys, a couple of New Yorkers, Mike Francesa and Chris Russo, at WFAN in New York, which was widely recognized as the first 24-hour all-sports talk radio station, and how their afternoon show basically started and brought the genre of sports talk radio to a new level. I know a lot of folks like to listen to the local stations here in the area. I've been filling in on 104.5 The Zone the past few weeks, having a great time there in the mornings 6 to 10. But without these guys and without that station, there may not be a 104.5 The Zone or some of the other sports stations here in town. So you should definitely check that out. It's it's a 30 for 30 called Mike and the Mad Dog. Tells the story of Mike Francesa and Chris Mad Dog Russo. Again, a couple of New Yorkers that really, really revolutionized the genre of all sports talk radio. Coming up next segment, we're going to hear from my buddy Gregg Giannotti, who used to work at WFAN. We worked together in Pittsburgh at Sports Radio 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh's version of The Fan, and kind of bring you inside. He knew both guys really well, Mike Francesa and Chris Russo, and we're going to kind of bring you inside what it was like as they evolved as a radio show and as a team, and what that station and what those two guys have done to elevate sports talk. There may not be a sports line here on News Channel 5 Plus were it not for those guys. And again, it may not be all sports talk radio, Mike and Mike on ESPN radio that most of us listen to and enjoy now. So I think you're going to be very entertained next segment when we bring my buddy Gregg Giannotti in. Again, he co-hosts a nationally syndicated sports talk show called Gio and Jones on the CBS Sports Radio Network. So we're looking forward to having Gregg on as well. And also, you know, SEC Media Days are rolling on in Hoover, Alabama. Of course, Vanderbilt spoke on Monday. I'm sorry, Tennessee spoke on Monday. Vanderbilt meeting the media yesterday. Today was Alabama's turn, along with Kentucky. And the last time I was on, got a lot of flack from Alabama fans. Of course, I was the one last year that came on this show and predicted that Tennessee would beat Alabama in Knoxville last fall. That, of course, did not happen, and a lot of Alabama fans love to remind me of that. So, just for you, Roll Tide fans, you're gonna hear a lot from Nick Saban today, what he had to say at SEC Media Days, as we get a feel for what Alabama will and can do this season. Of course, you remember Alabama getting all the way to the College Football Playoff Championship game, had a late lead late in the fourth quarter against Clemson, but then Deshaun Watson and the Tigers drove the length of the field and scored on virtually the last play of the game. So today, if you're an Alabama fan, this is a show you want to check out. We will hear from head coach Nick Saban, as we said, as he spoke to the media today in Hoover, Alabama. Tomorrow is the final day of SEC Media Days, and it should be an interesting one because Ole Miss head coach Hugh Freeze will step to the mic, and he's got a lot of splaining to do with the NCAA throwing serious allegations of cheating and other lack of institutional control with the Rebels program. Hugh Freeze has been pretty much mum on the subject the entire summer. summer, but he'll have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide tomorrow as he faces the music. So definitely something we'll be keeping an eye on tomorrow as Hugh Freeze of the Ole Miss Old Rebels meets the media at SEC Media Days. Of course, later on in the days ahead, we will have OVC Media Days. So all the college football leagues will be having their media gatherings, preseason media gatherings in the next several weeks as we inch closer and closer to the start of football season. So your thoughts on the SEC this year are welcome. 737-7767. Who's going to win the East? It seems wide open. Can anybody challenge Alabama in the West? Who do you have playing in Atlanta for the SEC championship? That is all on the table for you as well. Interesting when you listen to Nick Saban as opposed to listening to Butch Jones, the head coach of Tennessee. A couple of contrasting styles here, really, when you think about it. You know, Nick Saban basically saying last year was a disappointment. You know, you figure, as we said, you get all the way to the championship game, you lose on a last-second drive, basically on the final play of the game, as opposed to Tennessee that was picked to win the SEC East last year, started off obviously extremely well, was playing good football, and then ran into a snag and some late losses at South Carolina, at Vanderbilt. So some disappointment there, but Butch Jones says last year was not a disappointment. He chooses to have the glass half full. So just an interesting contrast in styles there. Obviously, the expectations are different. Expectations always high on Rocky Top for the Tennessee Vols, but it's magnified that much more in Alabama to where their fans, and believe me, I hear from them every day, you don't win a national championship at Alabama, the season is a disappointment. So interesting contrasting styles there as we get through SEC Media Days. Right now, we're going to hear from one of Coach Saban's top players, wide receiver Calvin Ridley, a guy that he hopes has a big season as they look to make another championship run.
Calvin, Chris Walsh from SEC Country. We've seen a lot of really good Alabama teams, but you know, even though you guys haven't even started training camp, what's different about this group, this team?
You know, I've been around two teams. You know, I won championship, one not, but you know, I think like Coach Saban, he preaches leadership. I think the leadership on this team is pretty good. You know, we got some guys who are buying in right away, and we're trying to get the younger guys to buy in, and I think we're going to be a good team once we all become one. So,
left side here, also in the second row.
Rachel Barbeau, Sirius XM. Clemson said the year before that they won, that there was like a chip on their shoulder when they lost to you guys in the national championship. They remembered it every single day, and it fueled them. Does that loss fuel you guys, or do you need that?
I mean, yeah, we definitely need that. I mean, you know, when you lose a big game like that, you definitely come into the next season with a chip on your shoulder. You know, you just, you know, very excited to get out there. So I feel like, you know, we're you know, all the guys, you know, that did play in that game are like really hungry to get back out there and play and, you know, show the world that, you know, we are one of the top teams in the nation. So,
right side, third row.
Jim Johnson, Southern Pigskin. Is there a story or anecdote that you can share that kind of explains why Nick Saban is so different from all the other coaches in the league and college football as a whole?
I don't know if I have a story, but I just can say, you know, for me being there, he's just all about football, you know. Some coaches part just, you know, want to do other things, and he's just strictly football. He, you know, he barely sleeps probably. You know, all he do is you can see him at the complex all day. He's in his office working. So that's one thing I know about Coach Saban. You know, he's all about football.
Let's go right side, second row on the aisle. Name and affiliation, please.
Scott Griffin, Smash Mouth Radio, Calvin. I think it's interesting. Brian brings some pro elements to the spread. The spread's been good for you. Obviously, you played in high school, too. Kind of talk about the differences there. Will we see any from a wide receiver perspective and to get you ready for the ultimate goal of the National Football League?
Yeah, I can't really say. You know, you're pretty much going to see some of the same things we did last year. And, you know, I really think Coach Saban brought one of the best guys in for us. And, all I really can say is, you got to look forward to the season. It's going to be a real good season for us on offense, and we're going to be a lot better.
Also on the right side, front row on the end.
Wade Smith, iHeartMedia, Birmingham. How's Jerry looked in the offseason so far? We know we saw him make some pretty incredible catches in the spring. What have you seen from him?
I mean, I've seen a lot of, he's getting better, learning the system and learning how things go around Alabama, how to compete and how to be play at a high level. So I think he's really going to do good. We got a lot of guys in the receiver room who's going to help us this year, and everybody's in my group is working real hard.
Let's go here, left side, front row in the middle.
Ben Baby from the Dallas Morning News. I know you saw Christian Kirk at the opening here, and it seems like y'all go back a ways. Just talk about y'all's relationship and how that's kind of grown or developed over the years.
I mean, I know him from the opening and from high school. I mean, we I don't want to say we like really close. We just, speak to each other, respect each other. But I think he's a really good player, really good guy, and I respect him a lot.
Also here in the front row, left side.
Dan Matthews, Gridiron Now. Calvin, why was it so? Why did you want Riley to go to Georgia so badly? And second part of that, what can Bulldog fans expect to see from him in his second year?
I don't think it was all me that really wanted him to go there, but I just wanted my brother to go somewhere that he would be comfortable and, not get in much trouble and just be able to play real well. And I expect him to have a really great season, win the Heisman or something, do something great. I don't care. It's my brother. I just want him to play real well.
Let's go here, right side in the back corner.
Matt Zaleski, Fox Sports Shoals Radio. Good morning, Calvin. Your numbers dropped last year, receptions down, average yards per catch down. I think the touchdowns were the same. I know it's all about winning football games, but I feel like your name going into last season, a lot of people were talking about you, and this year, because the numbers did dip a bit, I hadn't heard your name on the national radar as much. Does that affect you any? Do you want to get more balls thrown your way? How do you take on that, or does it have any effect at all?
It doesn't have any effect. I mean, I know I got to be better this year for my team, my offense, so we can get to where we want to be. But it doesn't really affect me. It just makes me want to go harder, and makes me like when I get that ball, know I got to do more. So I'm not really too much worried about it. I just got to go out there and play harder.
Left side, second row by the door.
Chris Walsh from SEC Country again. Does Jalen get the respect that he's deserved or earned at this point?
I really don't see too many people, disrespecting him. I think he gets, I think he did very, very well for a freshman. He's improving every day. He's one of those guys that works really hard, to get better. So I think he gets the respect, but I think there's some people out there that don't respect him that should. So,
right side, third row on the center aisle.
Hey, Calvin, Matt Smith, Southern Pigskin. Wanted to stick on Jalen for a second. Was there a moment last year when you really realized you had something special, that you could go as far as you went with a true freshman? Bradley in her earlier kind of mentioned the Ole Miss game after he got that hit, and you guys were down 3 touchdowns and came back and won, that was the moment. But for you, would you agree with that, or was it something different when you knew Jalen might be really unique?
Well, that Ole Miss game, I think that was, I can say that was probably my favorite game. As a team, I think we were down and we came back and played good. But I guess I would say, the first game, the first game we played against USC, I thought, Jalen was really good. He fumbled the first play, but that happens, and it was a mix-up with him and the running back. But the rest of the game, I thought he played really well. So from there on, I thought he was a real good quarterback for us.
Left side here, front row.
Being a Florida guy, how much is the FSU game going to mean to you? And also, are you already starting some back and forth with some of their guys?
Well, I'm not, doing some back and forth with the guys. I respect everyone over there. But, I'm really looking forward to that game. I like Florida State when I was coming out of high school. And I know a lot of guys over there, so I'm just, real excited to get a chance to get back out there and compete against, one of the best teams in the nation. So I'm really excited about that.
Let's go right side here against the wall.
Ryan with 1010XL in Jacksonville. Kind of following up the FSU question, it's kind of a dream matchup to open a season. Have you had a chance to look at them at all? Is there anything that stands out regarding FSU heading into that season opener?
I haven't had a chance to look at them, but I watched a couple of their games last year, and I know they got a real good defense over there, real fast defense. The offense, they got a lot of playmakers. So and like Coach Saban said, we're going to be playing one of the best teams to open up the game, so it's going to be real fun.
Also on the right side here, front row.
What's been your biggest focus for you to get better on in the offseason this year?
Well, for me personally, I just want to keep that drive and stay hungry. This is my third year, and I just feel like I got so much motivation. I don't know, I'm just real hungry, and I just want to be a leader to my group in the offense, and anyone else I can on the team, just to keep us going and keep myself going too. So I'm really excited about the year.
We have time for 2 last questions. Left side here against the door, by the door.
Justin Nails, 99 won the game. How important is it to your growth to be able to go up against that defense every day in practice?
I mean, when you go against a defense like ours, you have no choice but to get better. So when we as an offense, when we look good and we beat the defense, that tells us that we're doing something right and the offense is rolling. We'll be able to score a lot of points this season.
Last question, back row on the left side.
Hey, Calvin. A couple of weeks ago, Deron Payne came home, and I talked to him for a couple of seconds, and he told me that your Madden skills has dropped a little bit. What can you talk about that?
My Madden skills?
Yeah.
My Madden skills never drop.
That's what he said, man. So.
Nah, he can't beat me. I'm one of the best in the world at Madden.
All right, Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver at Alabama, as the Crimson Tide wrap up SEC Media Days this week in Hoover, Alabama, and they're getting set for the season opener, a great season opener against Florida State. It'll be in Atlanta at their new stadium in the Chick-fil-A preseason kickoff game, or whatever it is they call it. Anyway, so we're going to hear more from Alabama as we go through the hour. Head coach Nick Saban, we'll hear from him in just a little bit. When we come back, though, we're going to switch gears, and we're going to talk about the birth of sports talk radio in New York and what it's led to today. Great documentary coming up on ESPN tomorrow, the 30 for 30. We're going to talk with our buddy Gregg Giannotti, formerly of WFAN, now with CBS Sports Radio. And we'll get to that when we come back right after this.